during so when you kick off your amateur kickboxing career, you picked up quite a few titles along the way during that time. What titles did you win there?
Oh God!
I just remembered you said about your memory.
I know, it's terrible. I've got all the belts and everything at home, and sometimes I have to go through them, and I'm like, right. So I think I definitely won the Five Nations. And back then, obviously, Colin Payne used to do it properly. So I'd win the Five Nations. Then I'd have to go and defend it twice. And then I went on for the European. I had to defend that twice. And then I went on for a world title, which I obviously sadly lost. Yeah. And then I made the transition over to K1. Yeah. And then I've done the same thing in K1, like Five Nations, European, defending it. And then went for a world title and lost the world title as well. So, yeah, I don't think I got it easy with my world title fights. I'm not saying that people do, but I mean, fighting people like Neve, I'm not going to take it away from her. She's a great fighter. I just could not get a grip of that southpaw style. Yeah. But I think I put up a really good fight with her anyway.
And it was, you had the two fights. They was both. I think I was there both times. Yeah. Both great fights. But when you compare them to the other fights on the card, not knocking the other fights, but they were standouts. They was enjoyable. Both times.
Yeah. No, I know. And I think a lot of people that she went up against, she was stopping a load of people as well, wasn't she? So yeah. When I look back now, they were. I think especially that first fight, because it was a 3-rounder. I think was really close. I think like there were certain things that I think if I just tweaked that little bit and not got caught and got out quicker, I think that was probably more closer. But then the second fight was quite close as well. But it was over 5 rounds. Yeah. And it was a bit tit for tat. I was catching her, she was catching me. But yeah, she was the better fighter on both the nights. So.
The talking of that, those fights, they took place on the Kickboxing Grand Prix show. How was your time with them? Because you competed on there a lot.
Yeah. Nothing bad to say about them at all. I enjoyed it, to be fair. I enjoyed fighting on their shows. They were very, very professionally run. Like weigh-ins were always really good, always on time. The shows always started on time. And like Simon and Phil were really good down there. They treated me like one of their own. And then Phil obviously used to let me go down to Holborn at Team 2.
Gym box and Team 2.
And spar. I used to spar there all the time in the build-ups to my fight. Yeah. So, yeah, I've got nothing but good things to say. Yeah.
So it was kind of like a home show for you, because a lot of your training partners trained with Luke.
Yeah, it become like that, to be honest. Every time you turned up, it was all familiar faces. Yeah. You knew everybody, and it was just like, I'm doing the same thing again, same walkout. So no, that I did enjoy those years fighting on Muay Thai Grand Prix, definitely.
And I wanted to ask you, because we I don't know if we spoke about it off camera or you mentioned it earlier on, but you travelled over to the Netherlands for Infusion for a massive fight with the legend.
The legend, yeah.
Jorina Baars. Taking her on in her own backyard. Like, what was that? Because you briefly touched on it, like getting the call, getting that offer, because it sounds like you already was considering boxing at that time.
Yeah, I'd already started my boxing training, to be fair. And then Matt obviously had got the call, and he called me up and he just said, like, I know you're already made that step. He said, but would you really want to be turning that down? And I was like, no, I can't. Can't turn that down. And to be fighting such a legend as well, I mean, her record, she's only got 1 loss on her record, hasn't she? Yeah. Which a lot of people disagree with that loss as well.
Was it 1 championship?
Against...
I want to say Christina.
Yeah, Breuer.
Yeah.
So I travelled out to Germany.
I was going to ask
you.
Well.
Yeah. So when I was training for my fight against Neve, obviously Neve was a southpaw and a very good southpaw. Matt was like, right, we need to get you the best southpaw girl sparring there is out there, and he found obviously Christina, and he was like, she's the only girl that has obviously ever beat Jorina. Yeah. So I travelled over to Germany and sparred with her. And then obviously years later I was fighting over in Holland on Infusion against Jorina, so who was very, very tall. It's like 6'1", 6'2", I think. But do you know what? She's a lovely girl as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we still stay in contact now. And I think another thing as well, I think I did put up a good fight against her, more so than what she'd got from other people. But that was always going to be a risk fight.
Yeah.
And I know how technical she is and how good she is, but I was like, even if, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, obviously, I want to win. But if I come away with a lose against someone against her on Infusion, it weren't really a loss in my mind.
No.
I just thought, I've got this experience to come and do this. And obviously, she caught me with that big knee, didn't she, in the first round? And how I come back from that, I don't know.
What was one of your highlights of your kickboxing career? Would you consider that up there, or?
Yeah, definitely. But coming away with the loss weren't the best part of it. I've had quite a few, to be honest. I mean, I got quite a lot of wins on Muay Thai Grand Prix. The knockout head kick on the night that England had just won as well.
I was there.
Yeah, and I come out to It's Coming Home. That was good. That was a good atmosphere. And then also as well, one of my first ever amateur K1 fight against Nicola Barke, when I knocked her out with the spinning back fist. I'll always remember that as well because it was a 3-rounder and I didn't knock her out, obviously, to the 3rd round, and we was actually having quite a good fight. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm coming into this fight thinking I'm going to stop her or anything like that. And then when I threw that back fist and obviously knocked her clean out, at the time I hated it because it was my first ever proper knockout.
Wow, yeah.
But then afterwards I was like, wow, like I can't believe I've done that. And in my first K1 fight. So that was good as well, yeah.
I wanted to actually ask you about Nicola because she made the switch too.
Yeah,
right?
she's gone over to boxing.
Yeah.
As well.
Have you managed to catch any of her fights, or have you been in contact maybe?
I haven't been in contact with her, but I did watch her last fight because she was fighting on the same show as a few of my other teammates. So, and another girl that was fighting that night, I wanted to watch her fight because I'd done some sparring rounds with her as well. Terrible names again. Girl from Greece who'd come down to our gym a couple of times. Yeah, so no, I did see her last fight, I think it was, yeah. But yeah, you never know.
Do you think you would ever entertain the idea of going back to? Is there a fight that maybe would interest you if a promoter come knocking in K1 and they said, "We've got this fight for you"?
I don't know. Only because of the transition.
Of course.
Yeah, they won't let you fight pro boxing and pro kickboxing.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So, obviously Jorina as well, after I had the fight with her in Holland, she then went on and had a pro boxing fight because the rules are different out there. You can do both.
Yeah.
So yeah, so she's doing both, and then I was over here trying to do everything I could to get my license, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Probably not.
Yeah.
I say probably not, but
never say never.
Who knows? Yeah, never say never.